what's up? It's your girl Mikaela back at it again with another video. So today I am doing my first ever story time, and it's about the time when I snuck out of house and I almost got busted, and I got videos and I got snaps and I got everything of my wild day, my wild night. So let's get on with the video. Okay, so it all started Christmas break. Okay, so I was scrolling on Snapchat and I kept seeing these flyers for this party, right? And I was like, okay, cool, whatever. But I wasn't really interested in it because I didn't think that any of my friends was gonna go. And I was like, I'm not about to go to a party where I don't know anybody, logic, right? So then my friend, she texted me and just like, hey girl, you wanna go to this party with me? I was like, yeah, sure. And then I stopped and I thought, wait, I gotta ask my dad first. And then I was like, wait, I can't. So my dad, he works from 3 p.m. to 12 a.m., right? And so I was like, well, I can't ask my dad because if I ask my dad, he's going to say no. Because I don't know about y'all's parents, but my dad, he hates last minute stuff. You got to tell him days in advance. So if I ask him, hey, can I go to this party? He's going to say no, right? And then at the same time, I'm like, I don't want to argue with him, going back and forth. Like, I don't be doing nothing bad. I stay in the house. I do what I got to do. I listen to you. I don't feel like arguing with him. And then I also didn't want to, like, ask him and he say no. And then I sneak out. And then he, like, FaceTime me. Yo, where you at? And I'm not home. And then I get in trouble. And I get my phone taken, blah, blah, blah. You guys know the rest. So I was like, you know what? Let me just sneak out. What he doesn't know won't kill him, right? Right. So I snuck out, and then me and my friend, we got there. And then at first it was kind of dead. It was, it wasn't really good. And then more people started coming in, and then, there was people outside smoking, and there was people inside twerking and dancing, and, good music. Everything was good, right? Good vibes. And then there was this candy thing, and they had, like, all the good candies, bro. Like, I'm telling you, they had, like, candy, like the good candy. And I was like, okay. But I was mad because I didn't bring my purse. If I brought my purse, I would have put tons and tons of candy in my purse, bruh. Because there was a whole lot. There was, and there was a lot of people, but there was like more candy. There was more candy than people, if you're trying to get what I'm trying to say, right? And so, thank God, I was wearing these thigh-high boots. And I started putting candy in my boots. Like, I didn't care who was watching. I really didn't care. Because, that's... And it wasn't just candy. It was like, they had, I can't think of what it's called. But it's like the Sour Patch Kids. But it's not Sour Patch Kids. It's those little skinny little things. I can't think of what it's called, but I'm pretty sure y'all know what I'm talking about. And it's sour, and it's skinny. Yeah, they had those, and it was, like, not just individuals. It was, like, packs. Like, the packs. Like, you can go to the store and get that for, like, $2. But they had that there for free. Like, I'm telling you, they had, like, candy. Okay, so, the party ended at 9 o'clock. People started leaving. Everybody was saying their goodbyes. And then, me and my friend, we was about to go. And she called her brother. She was like, hey, can you come and get us? Now, I have my license and everything, but I don't have a car. So if I had a car, she didn't have to call her brother or anything, and we would have been home, right? But then all of a sudden, this kid, he was like, oh my God, this boy, he just strung out. What's wrong with him? And then we look, and then we see this boy, and he's like passed out on the couch. And we're like, oh my God, what just happened? Like, did he overdose on something? What's going on? And then everybody was like, we should call the cops. We should call the cops. And they're like, no, because remember, there was people outside and they were smoking, and some of them were underage. And if you call the cops, they're gonna get in trouble too. So some people was like, no, don't do it. And they was like, no, we got to do it because we can't just let him like die or anything. And so they called the cops, right? And then the cops came and the ambulance came. And then me and my friend, we were nosy, so we stayed. And I have, like, the video of, like, the cop coming into the room and everything. And then, we found out that he wasn't even invited to the party. Nobody knew who he was. We don't even know who he was. Nobody knew him. And then also, I wasn't sure if he was actually on drugs or if it was like medical, like something that doesn't involve drugs, something was like wrong with his body or whatever. I can't remember what it was. I'm pretty sure my friend knows, but I can't remember. And so so what happened was his brother ended up coming and getting him and taking him home. So the ambulance left. The ambulance, you know, they came for no reason. And then the cops, they stayed. And then you know, they was asking the host questions and everything, and then me and my friend, we was just standing back there listening too. And then I was like, hey, and then I told my friend, hey, can you go call your brother? I need to go home. And I already told her about how I snuck out, and like I said, by this time it was like 10, so, you know, I had plenty of time to get back home. And so she was like, yeah, sure, I'll go call my brother. And so she called her brother, and he was like, yeah, I'm on my way. And he was coming on his way, and then he was like, hey, I'm here. And so me and her, we went out, and we was waiting. We waited for like 5 minutes. And then she called him, where you at? And he was like, I went back home. I was like, what did he just say? She said he went back home. I said, why did he go back home? And she said because he told her that he doesn't have a license plate, and he saw the cops, and so he left. I'm like, really? Really? You could have asked us to meet you at the gas station. Because where the party was, it was like in this rented place where like people go and have parties. And so that's right here. And then the gas station is like literally like in front of it. And so I'm like, he could have asked us to like meet him at the gas station far away from the cops. And by this time the gas station was closed, so you know, whatever. And then she was like, he's gone already. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, why are you driving without a license plate anyway? But that's a different story, right? And so I was like, you know what? And so I was like, you know what? It's cool. It's cool. You know, I have plenty of time. My dad gets home at 12. It's 10 right now. We got time. And she was like, yeah, we do. And so we stayed a little bit. And then I was like, hey, is there anybody else who can pick us up? And she was like, yeah, my sister can come pick us up. And like I said, I wish I had a car, bro. I wish I had a car. Because I could have been home. But, you know, I was like, whatever. I could have brought both of us home. Shoot, I could have brought both of us home. And then she was like, yeah, I'll call our sister. And so this was like around 10:30. And then like 15 minutes passed. I'm like, so is your sister on her way? And she was like, no, she didn't answer. I'm like, oh my gosh. And she was like, she's probably asleep. And so she kept calling and calling and calling and calling. And then people are starting to leave, right? And then by this time, it's like 11 o'clock. I'm like, girl, where is your sister? And she's like, she's not here. She must be asleep. I'm like, oh my gosh. And we were like we were the last two people there. Like the host and her family were the only ones there, and they were cleaning up. Like in my mind, I'm like, might as well just clean up, cause like help them clean up, cause like we are here. Like, and we just sitting there looking all dumb, you know. And then the host, she kept coming back. She's like, hey y'all, is your ride coming? We're like, yeah. I'm like, we're lying, and we don't even know where our ride is, right? And then I was like, hey, can you call your sister again? And she called her, and then her sister finally answered, and she was like, hey, we need you to come pick us up at blah, blah, blah. She was like, yeah, sure, okay. Like, 15 minutes passed. Okay, where's your sister? Because my friend, she doesn't live that far from where the little place was. And so I'm like, okay, where's your sister? And then she called her again, and then she said that her sister was getting ready. I'm like, getting ready for what? It's like 11 o'clock at night, honey. Just come and get us in your PJs. I'm not going to judge you. And then, oh my gosh. And this is where it starts to get crazy, y'all. So, I guess it was like 11:30, and I was like, I can't do this. I cannot do this. Your sister is not here. And I have to be home at 12 o'clock. Like, if I left at 10, I would have been home by now. Because I could have walked. Like, driving-wise, I lived, like, 7 to 6 minutes away. But walking, you know, it probably would have took me an hour, right? So, I'm like, I could have been walked and been home by now, and it's 11:30. My dad's gonna be home in 30 minutes, and I'm, like, freaking out and everything. She's like, okay, I'm gonna try to figure out where she's at. And so, you know, like when I'm in panic, I panic. Like when I mean panic, I panic. So I was like, you know what? Forget it. So I went and I called a Lyft. And this dude was like 25 minutes away. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Okay. So I'm waiting and I'm pacing back and forth. I'm like, okay, he better, my Lyft driver better hurry up and get here because I need to get home. Because I don't know who this dude is, and if he drives slow, I'm going to be busted, right? So, you know, he came, I guess it was probably 11:45. Let's say it was 11:45, right? And then I go in the car, and you can, like, tell, you can, like, see it on my face, you can see, like, how I'm moving, how I'm putting on my seatbelt, like, so fast. You can tell that I'm in a rush, and I need to go. And then he's like, hey, how are you? And he's like taking his sweet little time talking to me. I'm like, and I cut to the chase. I was like, hey, I'm in a rush. Can you please go? And he was like, yeah, sure. And then he's, oh my gosh. And then he's like, I'm so sorry, y'all. He was like taking the longest to get on the road. Like the place was right here, and then the road is literally like right here. And he's like going all around and about, and I'm like, dude, I need to get home. And so I said to him again, I need to get home. And he was like, okay. And so he was driving, and then he finally got onto the road, and then he was finally on the way to my house, right? And then he started driving slow. And in my mind, I'm like, can you drive any faster? I really wanted to kick him out of his own car and drive to my house myself because he was taking forever. And I already stressed it enough that I need to get home. Okay, you don't need to ask any questions. I need to get home. Make sure I get home. I'm the one paying you. You need to make sure I get home when I say I need to get home, right? Right. That's my money that I'm giving you. Anyway, so I'm like, okay, I need to get home. And then, so the plan in my mind was I need to get home, and then I need to make sure that the Lyft driver, he's like not on my street, because I don't want my dad to like be coming onto our street and then the Lyft driver's coming out of our street. Then my dad's gonna be like, huh? You know, he's gonna be like suspicious. And so if the Lyft driver is like a couple of streets away and then my dad is coming onto my street, then he's not gonna think anything of it, you know? So finally I got home. I ran. When I tell you I ran, bruh. I ran. And I got home and I opened the door. And then panic mode came back in again. I was like, oh my gosh, what if my daddy's the kitchen light was on? And I forgot that I left the kitchen light on, right? And so I ran to the garage and I opened up the garage to see if the car was in there. And the car was gone. I was like, thank you, God. And by this time, it was 12. Like, it was 12 o'clock. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then I went upstairs and I was laughing. I was like, I snuck out and I got home before my daddy came. And then, I was taking my sweet time, taking off my clothes, and then I hear that door open. I was like, oh my gosh. So I turned off my light, and I'm like half dressed. Like, I still have like my party clothes on. And then I looked over on the floor, and I see my boots that I took off in the candy. And I was shoving that thing under my bed. And then I was like praying to God, please don't let my dad come in my room and ask me to like, do the dishes, because I couldn't remember if I did the dishes or not. And I know my dad, he will like wake me up if like he told me to do something and I didn't do it. He would like wake me up and tell me to go do it. So I was like, Lord, please let those dishes be done, because I didn't want him to be like, I need you to go do the dishes, and then I'm like dressed like in regular clothes and not my PJs. Then he's gonna be like, huh? And then you already know what's gonna happen. And so thank God he did not come in my room. And then he went outside and he walked the dog. And then I was freaking out on my private story. Basically, I was freaking out on my private story like since when my friend's brother left. And I was like, y'all, I just escaped the house, and I came back before my daddy came, and I'm like, YOLO, you only live once, blah, 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 blah. And I was so happy, bruh.